In this movie, I'll show you how to install the SID application on a PC running Windows. First thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up phpMyAdmin, and we're going to import some databases. So I bring up localhost and I click on phpMyAdmin. I'm going to come over here to import and choose file. So there's 3 databases we're going to import. I'm going to import each of these one at a time. So I'll start with album MySQL. I want to make sure the character set is set to UTF-8, and if it's not, you'll want to select that. And I'll scroll down here and press go, and that imported that first album database. And now we're going to do the same thing for the other 2. So scratch, open UTF-8, go, and world. Open UTF-8, and this one takes just a little bit longer. And there we're done. So now if we come over here to databases, we see these databases that we've just imported. There's the album database, and the scratch database, and the world database. So I'll go ahead and close the browser for now. And now we're going to install SID and another application called CRUD. And we're going to install these in the XAMPP folder, and under XAMPP, see a folder called htdocs. And that's where everything goes that can be seen by the web server. And so that's where our applications are going to get installed. So I'm going to come over here to our exercise files. I'm going to take these 2 folders, SID and CRUD. I'm holding down the control key as I select them so that I get both of those folders. And they're into our htdocs folder. I'm just going to drag those. I'm going to hold down the control key while I drag them so that they get copied and not moved. So now we have copies of them, and you see that they still exist here in the exercise files. And that's important because if for some reason you make a mistake while editing them or something, you've still got another copy of them. They're not very big. So we'll start in the SID folder, and we're going to edit this sid.php. I've got it configured here so that when I open a PHP file, it opens it with Notepad++. Or you can right-click on this and you can select Open With, and under More Options, you can find out how to open it with Notepad++, the application. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this with Notepad++, and there's our sid.php. And as I scroll down here, somewhere around line 50, you'll see something that says MySQL Pass, and you notice that the user is already set to SID, but you want to make sure that the user is set to SID, and then the password is going to be that password that you entered in the lesson on setting up the users. And I'm going to enter the silly password that I entered there, press Control S to save. And again, don't use this password. This is just for demonstration purposes. And so I'm going to go ahead and close SID, and I'm going to open, see if this will give me the same directory. It does. So under htdocs, I'm going to come over here to CRUD, and I'm going to open crud.php. And you notice that the user here is web, and the password is going to be whatever password you entered for web. And I'm going to enter my silly password. Control S to save, close that, close this, and bring up the web browser. Now here I can type in localhost, and I'm going to type a slash and SID in all caps, and another slash and SID lowercase.php. And that's the path to the SID application there in the htdocs, which is where the web server reads all the files from. And I press enter, and there we have SID, and SID is working, and we can see it's bringing up the database. I can bring up the album database here and just type in a query, select asterisk from track and press go, and there's all the tracks in our track table in the album database. And I can test each of these different databases here. From the scratch database, I can use the customer table, and I get results. And from the world database, I can use the city table. There's a very long list of over 4,000 cities. You notice we have a little status line here. It tells us how many rows are returned and the elapsed time. And so the SID application is working. I can drag this out onto my toolbar, and now every time I press that, I get the SID application. And I can go ahead and get to the CRUD application, which is all caps CRUD, crud.php. Press enter up here. There we go. There's our CRUD application. CRUD, of course, stands for create, read, update, delete. That's the 4 basic functions of any database system. And here we have, this is authenticating with the web user, you remember, and it's using the album database. And so if I come over here to this album, you notice there's the tracks in the album, and this application is working as well. And I can bring this down here and I can put it in my toolbar. So I've got CRUD and I've got SID, and I can get to those from my toolbar very easily. So now that SID is installed and working, you have everything you need to follow along with the exercises in this course. So let's get started.